Gromp led Kepark to the docking station where the Muntun Yadar was scheduled to arrive. As they approached, Gromp turned to Kepark, his expression serious. "If you were to take such a mark, how would you set it up?" he asked, his tone low and measured. Kepark considered the question carefully before responding, outlining his strategy with precision. "I'd know where Ford would be staying," Kepark explained. "I wouldn't expose myself here at the docking station. Instead, I'd position myself further off to observe Ford entering and assess if he's alone." He continued, detailing his plan to eliminate Ford, with the target's quarters being the preferred location. Gromp nodded in understanding, absorbing Kepark's insights as they prepared for Ford's arrival. As they waited for the Muntun Yadar to dock, Gromp instructed Kepark to keep a sharp eye out for any signs of potential assassins lurking in the vicinity. "Look around, but don't draw attention to yourself," he cautioned. "We need to know if there are any threats before they make their move." With his orders clear, Gromp resolved to accompany Ford back to their ship, ensuring his safety in the face of potential danger. As the tension mounted, Kepark surveyed the area, his senses heightened as he scanned the crowd for any suspicious activity as he continued to relay the most likely course. "Ford isn't scheduled to arrive here for at least another 40 kiloseconds. That is too much time for a guild member to be exposed out here. If there is an assassin here, he would set up 2 to 3 kiloseconds before Ford entered." Gromp weighed his options for a few seconds before giving his orders. "Look around the station for places you would wait. Observe only. We meet back at our ship 7 kiloseconds before Ford is scheduled to arrive. Stay in communication only when needed. Do not engage anyone on your own." Kepark smirked as he replied, "Even if I have the chance to catch any would-be assassins by surprise? I thought keeping Ford safe was the mission." Gromp replied with a stern look, "You have done enough killing for one day. My orders are to be followed to the letter. Violence only when necessary." "Don't be seen," Kepark grunted once more as he walked off, blending in amongst the crowd of travelers. As Vrinma handed Trelk a package, she explained the purpose behind their meeting. "This package contains all the details," she began. "You and Pat are to meet with Fintalk, a Geeson power broker with an office on the lower decks of this station." Trelk listened intently as Vrinma elaborated on Fintalk's role as the Geeson responsible for escorting out-of-system guests who wished to visit the Warden on Tilnum. Vrinma questioned about Trelk's intentions. "My dear Trelk, are you planning to once again enter the Klopp trading business?" Trelk responded with a knowing smile. "You know me too well," he remarked. "But there are other ventures beyond Klopp's that I'm considering, ventures that could benefit from the diverse workforce that the Warden can provide." With their plans set in motion, Trelk and Patricia prepared to make their way to Fintalk's office, while Patricia relayed the location to Gromp, ensuring their coordination for the meeting. As Trelk and Patricia approached Fintalk's office, they were joined by Gromp, who had been briefed on their whereabouts. With the team assembled, they stood before Fintalk's door, anticipation coursing through their veins. Trelk took the lead, engaging the morale guard stationed outside Fintalk's office and requesting entry. Upon entering Fintalk's office, they were met with an air of authority and intrigue. Fintalk, a distinguished Geeson power broker, regarded them with a keen eye as they exchanged pleasantries. "What can I do for you, Noen?" Fintalk said, as he inhaled green vapors from a small vape pen. "Trelk is the name, and I do understand you can arrange an audience with the Warden of Tilnom, for the right compensation, obviously," replied Trelk with a welcoming smile. "Mr. Trelk, you may start by explaining what business you have in mind with the Warden before I even consider taking your credits," Fintalk said as his eyes fell on Patricia. Trelk leaned into Fintalk's view as he began to explain. "Well, business is what I am all about. I understand there are well over 1 million working guests on Tilnum, and several expire every day, too many to really keep track of. I have a need for a diverse, cheap labor workforce for a business venture that has fallen into my lap. I see an opportunity for the warden to report a few dozen extra casualties that he will no longer have to keep rations for, and a noticeable number of credits can mysteriously fall into his possession. Fintalk took a few moments to think over the proposal before giving his answer. 25,000 credits for 24 workers. Trelk gave a look of disbelief. I can get twice as many clops for that much. But I do see how you came up with such an amount considering I am looking for diversity. Although, I insist if I am to pay that much, I hand-select them in person for inspection. Fintalk smiled as he gestured one of his morale guards over. Well then, Mr. Trelk, I will run this offer to the adjacent party and get an answer when you return in, say, 85 kiloseconds. To be honest, I wouldn't have seen you if not for Vrinma. But it seems you share her obsession with dressing your Klopp servant with materials. He would not even begin to comprehend the value draped on him, kind of like a groomed pet of sorts. I tell you, it baffles me how these primitives hail from the same planet as the humans. At least those other primates can claim a victory over the Prozinuthian Empire. It does indeed count as baffling, but the additional garments display a distinct pizzazz, I would say. Trelk replied as he stood and gestured Pat and Gromp to the door. As the team exited Fintalk's office, Patricia wasted no time in issuing instructions. Let's get back to the ship, she said firmly, her tone leaving no room for argument. Trelk, impressed by Gromp's composure during the meeting, attempted to engage him in conversation. That was most impressive, keeping it together back there, Agent Wall. I must say I am not sure if that was because of your implants or whatever training the humans gave you. Gromp remained silent, his focus elsewhere as they made their way back. Upon reaching the ship, Gromp took a seat at his desk, his demeanor somber as he stared at the ship's wall in contemplation. Sensing the tension in the air, Trelk turned to Patricia, voicing his concerns. Should we be worried about Agent Wall? I can understand a reminder of his past treatment could have been most devastating. Patricia glanced at Trelk momentarily before speaking. Your silence will be greatly appreciated. Patricia's expression was grave as she awaited Gromp's next move. After a prolonged silence, Gromp finally broke his reverie, approaching Patricia with a sense of urgency. Gromp's message was troubling. Fintalk didn't contact the warden. Instead, he reached out to someone named O'Preen, sharing the details of our discussion. O'Preen seemed particularly interested in your presence there. The revelation sent a chill down Patricia's spine. Do you think it's because they thought me a Geesin or something else? Gromp rubbed his chin in thought for a moment before answering. I don't have enough information to be sure, but O'Preen will be waiting nearby for Trelk's return. Trelk, taken aback by the gravity of the situation, expressed his frustration. It would have been most helpful had I known you would be planting a listening device. We could have been easily outgunned back there if they would have noticed, especially without Kepark. Gromp ignored Trelk's small outburst as he used his communicator. Kepark, report. There were several seconds of silence over the communicator before Kepark's reply came over as barely over a whisper, We have an ample situation on our hands. Gromp calmly inquired, How ample? About a half-dozen armed Ixiarts ample, answered Kepark.